All right, so for this video, I'm going to talk about basically like the nature of knowledge, and in this sort of thought experiment that I came up with while, or no, I didn't come up with it. It's something that I was thinking about a thought experiment while I was running, and I'm still sweaty from it, so I just wanted to like spit it out on video. But basically, like the thought experiment is colorblind. It's like a colorblind doctor who's read all the books about color theory versus a 5-year-old who can see color, right? And I think that this does say a lot about like direct experience with knowledge versus looking at the world through like a through like middlemen, right? And like the original thought experiment I was thinking about was basically like there's this woman who's born colorblind, right? She can only see black and white, but she spends her entire life studying color theory. She reads all the textbooks about color. She reads all the she reads all the information about color. She does all the peer reviewed studies. She gets like 3 PhDs. And she's like a world renowned expert. Like she knows exactly what nanometers of wavelength this color like what wavelength this color has or what wavelength this color has, and this color means this and that color means that. Even though she's colorblind, right? And the thought experiment is that in the future when she gets older, right? After studying her entire life about color, she gets a magic cure for color blindness that they invent in the future, right? So the whole idea is, does the woman learn anything new about color? Does she acquire new knowledge by getting the cure for color blindness? And I think the answer is yes, and I think that shows the difference between like the type of knowledge, or like the type of knowledge that is valued in academia and mainstream science versus the type of knowledge that is like more of like the spiritual, mystical, direct experience, like a direct experience with the divine, a direct experience with your own spiritual self. Like that is something that, in my opinion, if you want to like escape the soul trap, if you want to really learn about how this place works, direct experience is the best. If there's anything that if you have to choose between like facts and logic in the sense that like in the head thinking sense of that, like that versus like gut feeling, like direct experience, like previous experiences, then I think you should choose to make a decision based off of a direct experience, to make your decision based off of gut feeling, instead of instead of getting like this yet again like the middlemen telling you basically being told what to see versus how to see, right? Like being told in a textbook what this thing is, what that thing is, what that thing is, versus actually being able to perceive it directly. And I think that this is why genetically and etherically, these bodies lock us in the five senses, right? These bodies lock us in into a narrow band of frequency, so that we can't see into the astral, we can't see into the unseen realms, we can't see like the true nature of reality, and so humans are basically blind, right? Like we can only see visible light, which is a tiny portion of the electromagnetic spectrum, and on top of that, the electromagnetic spectrum makes up only like a tiny percentage of everything that actually exists in the physical realm. And then you have like the astral plane, and all these other dimensions, that that go beyond physical reality. They go beyond physicality, right? And I say all this to say that being able to directly experience and directly encounter, not encounter. If you say encounter, it sounds like encountering entities or encountering quote unquote God or quote unquote Jesus or whatever, which is that's part of the soul trap, to get them to so that you give away your power, basically. So sorry, my words are not clear. I'm just tired from running, but basically, like I think that we should prioritize the search for direct experience. So, like if we want to find out something, then I don't think it should be from a book from someone who said it, right? Yet again, being told what to see by an external source, right? Like, if there's anything that allows us to directly experience the truth, to allow us to directly experience reality, then that is something that we should prioritize. Is we should prioritize being the 5-year-old who can see in full color, instead of like the 60-year-old woman who has all the PhDs in color theory, but she's colorblind, right? And so, and in a way, and if you think about like traffic lights, for example, right? Like being able, if you're colorblind versus if you can see color, right? Even if you're colorblind and you know that like a red means stop and green means go, I've also thought about this, which is that being able to perceive more of reality means that you can decode meaning, right? Like red means stop, green means go. What does that mean? And if you're colorblind, you can't really tell the difference, so it doesn't mean anything to you, right? It's the same thing with like synchronicities. It's the same thing with like if you see like an animal, like crossing your path, like in like the Native American traditions, or if you see it's like different symbols or different signs that you're going down the right path or that you're going down the wrong path or whatever. Like all of that, like the glitches in the matrix, the deja vus, right? If we don't have the ability to either expand our awareness to to the gut feeling stuff, to like the heart based intuition, good versus evil, like our sense of good and evil, right? If you don't have that, then it's like if you can grow in that direction and sort of navigate this place outside of the head, right, outside of facts and logic, scientific, and I'm not saying that like science, like the scientific method is bad, right, but only looking at the world of the senses will lock you in certain behavior patterns that the system can control, right, because they control what the simulate, they have a certain control of what the world of the senses will present to you. And if you're scared by it, then they can make you, like, the system will make you act in a predictable way if that happens, right? So if you can go in that direction, and if you can open yourself up to those spiritual parts of yourself, you will be able to decode meaning beyond physical facts and logic, physical science, right? Beyond beyond the study of the five senses. You'll be able to decode meaning beyond the black and white. You'll be able to see, like, what does it mean red means stop, green means go, right? Or like another example I thought of, like if you want to use the example of like traffic, right? It's like seeing a stop sign if you like in here, in the United States, versus if you go to like China and you have like no idea what the signs say, right? Like that's like the difference in like being able to perceive more of reality means being able to decode more meaning, right? And I think that there is really like a big correlation between like the search for truth, and like the being able to perceive more of reality and meaning. Like the more, like if the closer you get to the truth, the more meaning pops up, right? The more meaningful, like those small events, those synchronicities. And here's the thing: I do think that this simulation can generate artificial synchronicities to get you to believe in like the whole twin flame stuff. Is like if you think about like the whole new age twin flame, like you get into like a love bite relationship, which is where you get like you fall in love with the toxic person, and then the toxic person ends up showing their toxicity, and then like they break up with you or whatever, and so it distracts you from your purpose, it distracts you from, and it also generates loosh. And so that's what like the whole love bite relationship is, and you can look at that from the perspective of like Cupid's arrows and like relationships being set up in the astral, right? So I do think that there's artificial synchronicity, but I also think that we can decode meaning for ourselves if we grow in the direction of like that intuitive path. If we grow in that direction of like, okay, what's beyond the five senses? Like what impulses am I getting in my consciousness that are beyond the five senses? If you can tap into that, then you will be able to decode more meaning in the same way that a colorblind person will decode more meaning from a traffic light if they can see the color of the lights, right? And so it's stuff like that uh, that it's beyond the whole textbook like knowledge of like being told what to see versus learning how to see. So that was something that I was just thinking about during my run, that I wanted to talk about, which is that it's better to be someone who can see in full color versus you're colorblind but you have like all the, like you've read all the books, right? Like there's a difference between knowing the path and walking the path, I would say. Right, I think that's the best way to describe it, is like knowing the path versus walking the path, right? Because you've read all the esoteric books and you've read all the esoteric symbolism and all this other stuff, but there's a difference between that and walking the path, actually growing in that direction with like action, right? Action is more important than I mean, my entire channel is based on me just yapping, but actual meaningful action in your life is always going to be better than consuming a bunch of consuming information versus acting. Like even if like you're a total retard and you're acting in a misinformed manner, it's better to act, to move, to like the energy that you have within yourself, to let that energy express itself. It's better to have that than to sit there in you know, like just piles and piles of books, and to just sit there and do nothing, right? Because like you have like there's tons of people who know about I don't know about like the soul trap exactly, but like conspiracy theories in general. Like there's tons of people that know you know, all the esoteric symbolism of like there's this one guy that I watch who, you know, he talks about like the symbolism of like the caduceus and like Saturn symbolism and like stuff like that, like thelema symbolism, like numerology, and like how numerology connects with this, and how like this ancient symbol that you see in like all of like the engravings and the carvings. So you can go down rabbit holes, looking at like, okay, what does the pyramid symbolize? Like what does the capstone symbolize? Like what does the one eye symbol stand for? Like what is like the Masonic checkerboard? You can spend your entire like a lifetime acquiring information without doing anything about it, right? And so I think that we should prioritize, like if you want to like escape the soul trap, if you want to you'll grow in the direction of acquiring more spiritual power, right? Reading books is not, and I'm not saying like reading books and acquiring. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, right? No, you know, having you know, arming yourself with like the knowledge of like the tunnel of light being a trap, for example, right? Like having that knowledge with you inherently makes you more prepared just by knowing that it's a trap, knowing that the tunnel of light and like the entities that you experience after you leave the body, inherently knowing that it puts you in a better spot than people who don't know that. So knowledge is a good thing, but it needs to it needs action. It needs, you know, it needs to, you know, be applied in some way, so that you grow in that in a certain direction that benefits you, right? And so stewing in like a bunch of books and like reading all the textbooks about, like going back to the thought experiment, reading all the textbooks about color theory, you know, and getting like 3 PhDs and this, that, and the other without the direct experience, without the direct action and interface with reality is meaningless, right? So without that direct interface, without the ability to directly perceive reality, which is, you know, that's what I'm trying to do with my lucid dream practice, is to grow in that direction of being able to access parts of the mind that are non-physical, right? Parts of, you know, parts of our being, like the gut feeling, right? Growing in that direction is really important, and you know, and so I guess like the general message of the video is to not get caught up in the trap of just reading a bunch of books and then sitting and doing nothing, right? There has to be action. There has to be application of knowledge, like an application of knowledge, and you know, and there has to be a growth in the direction of direct experience with reality, direct experience with the truth, right? Direct experience will always, you know, in my opinion, it will always supersede you know, trivia. When I say knowledge, I don't mean like knowledge in its general sense. I mean knowledge in the sense that you read it from a book and you know a bunch of facts. Like you have like it's like Goodwill Hunting. Like you have a list of, you know, stuff that you know from a textbook, right? Like having like that direct experience, that direct interface is always going to be better. It's like if you had the option, in other words, of, you know, knowing everything intellectually about color theory, but you're colorblind, versus you don't, like you don't know anything about like the color theory stuff from the textbooks, but you have the ability to see color, then you should choose the direct perception over the trivial knowledge every time, right? But yeah, that's the video.